Welcome to Blood, Gore, and Ghouls podcast. I'm your host, Ian Van Ghoul. As always, we'll be talking about horror movies, news, fun facts, answering questions, and anything else horror-related that you'd like to hear about. Now, you can find me on Twitch playing music, games, and recording the podcast live at twitch.tv/Ian Van Ghoul, reviewing a different horror movie every single day on TikTok at Ian.VanGhoul, as well as on YouTube at Ian Van Ghoul, and on our brand new Instagram account at Blood, Gore, and Ghouls _podcast. I'll include those links as well as all other social media links in the show notes. Now let's get to the exciting news. I have a guest, and it's a very special one. She's my biggest supporter, the mother of my child, the Lily to my Herman, my one and only till death do us part. Say hello to my wonderful wife, Mrs. Ghoul herself, Erin.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. You know, just
Yeah.
hanging out.
Just hanging out. Just happy to be
Friday
here.
night. Just another Friday night here.
Here we go.
Except for I'm in the room now and not upstairs trying to stay quiet.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the difference.
Well, I appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
Being our first guest.
Thanks for having me as your first guest.
Oh, no problem. Anything for you.
Yeah. Julie called me the hot and ready Little Caesars pizza because I was the most readily available to ask to
Hot
be
and ready.
the first guest. So
There we go.
That is definitely me. Cheap and easy, hot and ready.
That's right. So let's kick into some horror news. So earlier today, I went to see Saw X. My spoiler-free review for it is posted on TikTok and YouTube, so go check it out if you haven't already. My quick thoughts on it, though, not bad overall, completely unnecessary, though. Has a cool story, no real tension or uncertainty, though, if you've seen the other movies. So I would say wait for streaming or rent or buy at home. It's not really necessary to see it in theaters, unless you really want to, but I would say hold off. Speaking of theaters, what's up with people? So there was a wrestler-sized man that walked in to the theater today with his kid that was probably 10 at most. And of course, the kid sits directly behind me, kicking my fucking seat the whole time. Now, fortunately, the kid didn't say a word through the movie, unlike his meathead dad, who had to comment on numerous things throughout the movie. But also, when I was walking to the particular theater, the theater number that the showing was in, I passed a young lady waiting outside the bathroom with a full-on baby in a car seat carrier. Obviously not going to see Saw, but regardless, she did have a baby. She's taken to a loud-ass movie theater just so she can see a movie. Like, what the fuck? I don't know. I'm not one to judge other parents usually, but if you're taking a baby...
I mean, you might not have seen it. She could have had the cool headphones, and people take babies to concerts and everything too. So whatevs.
I guess I should hold off the judgment, but still, I feel like a baby in a small theater, it's not going to be a good experience for anyone. So,
like headphones. We're going to pretend that they had the noise.
Yeah,
like
cool.
headphones.
Yeah,
they could have.
They could have done that, but still, babies
didn't have
cry
a break.
quite a bit,
Yeah.
and there's no muzzle for babies.
Unfortunately, sometimes not.
So, that was my theater experience today. But yeah, I was very happy when I walked into the theater and there was 3 people. And then I was very unhappy about 3 minutes before the movie started, where a swarm of people came in. And like I said, this very small child, like 10, had to sit directly behind me. And to your point, like, why was he in school?
Yeah, I asked that.
Go the fuck to school, kid.
But when I did ask that, then I was like, well, maybe he's like homeschooled or cyber school. So
maybe it was a field trip.
Oh, could have been
Field trip to Saw X.
a educational trip.
Yeah. Got to see some blood and gore. I don't know, but yeah, that was my little rant for today. But yeah, so some more horror movie news. So last week we talked about the twisted timeline of the Halloween franchise. Well, this week it was announced that we are most likely getting more Halloween content in the future. So, according to Bloody Disgusting, Malik Akkad's Trancas International Films is actively shopping the rights to the Halloween franchise around Hollywood. Now, for clarity, Miramax co owns the film rights. Trancas is the sole owner of all television rights. So, from what we understand, there's a massive bidding war going on right now for television rights, with several different parties interested in vying for the chance to bring Michael Myers back to life. Now, we're hearing exclusively that A24 and Miramax are the two main parties currently in battle for TV rights, and that A24 is currently leading the charge. So, as you might recall, A24 recently won the rights to produce a Friday the 13th television series. It's being made for the Universal owned Peacock and is titled Crystal Lake. So, Bloody Disgusting sources have also indicated that Trancas is open to both film and television projects, and they're currently taking offers from studios and streamers alike. So, everything is on the table at this time. It's ultimately up to Trancas to field pitches and decide what is most appealing to them in the wake of Gordon Green's sequel trilogy. So, Miramax would be a participant in any film deal as they co own film rights to all sequels. Last year's Halloween Ends was the 13th installment in the Halloween franchise, which to date has never made its way onto the small screen. So could Michael Myers return with a television series? Or is another feature film reboot next up on the menu? Only time will tell.
It's about time he showed up.
So, a little bit of video game news. So the Texas Chainsaw Massacre video game is getting a DLC pack that will be released sometime in October. It'll cost $15.99 United States dollars. The pack includes a Greg Nicotero designed mask and outfit for Leatherface, a universal signature kill, and an exclusive saw with custom sound. So Greg Nicotero is, of course, a legendary makeup and a special effects artist who's worked on hundreds of different movies and TV shows. Evil Dead 2, Wes Craven's New Nightmare, Scream, 13 Ghosts, Planet Terror, and The Walking Dead are just a few from his vast resume of movies. His Leatherface design is pretty fucking gnarly. I posted a 8-minute video in Discord that was released for it, showing Greg's designs and his explanation for it all, so definitely go check that out if you haven't seen it yet. And speaking of video games, you are a video gamer.
Yes, I am.
A video gamer.
A video gamer gal.
You were just playing some video gamers.
Yeah, brand new MK1, Mortal Kombat 1. So just got that party started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You liking it?
Yeah, I mean, how can you hate button mashing?
That's true.
It's a classic.
That's
I don't
true.
even need to learn any of the moves. You just
hit
the buttons and you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
You're bound to kick ass.
There you go. But Mortal Kombat usually has some horror characters or DLC. Is there anything like that?
So they have the what they're calling the quote unquote season pass this year, their combat pack. And I can't the oddest one for me was Peacemaker.
Oh,
But I
okay.
was like, oh, okay. John Cena.
You can't see him though.
No. Well, as Peacemaker, you can.
That's true. Okay.
It's because it's not John Cena, it's Peacemaker. But I digress. I don't know, but the other like cool aspect, if I would have gotten that higher package and not just the game, was the sick Jean-Claude Van Damme skin. That was the only other thing that appealed to me. So, yeah, I'd have to look at it again to see who all's in the combat pack, other than Peacemaker, because I thought that was hilarious, and I would like to see how he fights.
Yeah, for sure. That'll be a fun watch.
Yeah. I might just like purchase him by himself because you can get them all individually too. So
Hell yeah.
we shall see.
All right. So, is there any other video games
I
you're?
was seeing what they were saying, but you moved it to answer them about Mortal Kombat. Oh, yes, ma'am. I am a video gamer. How do you not know that? And
She was just copying what I said there.
Video gamer. But come on over. We'll kick ass on MK anytime. But that's my newest video game, and you know me, the exact opposite of your gaming. I like the long drawn out stories that take me 2 months to complete. So
It's true.
just finished Final Fantasy remake for the second time. I like to replay a lot of games too.
A lot of time on your hands for that stuff.
Yeah, I guess.
All right, so let's get into some real life horror. This will be
This
kind
is
of
my thing.
down your alley.
Yeah. Walk down that dark alley.
So have you heard about Taylor Shabiznes?
I have. I know Taylor Shabiznes.
Oh man,
I do.
So I came across Taylor Shabiznes on TikTok. I hadn't heard of this person ever. Came across a video on TikTok, and holy fuck, this shit's twisted.
Super nutty.
Yeah, it's a real life horror movie for sure. So this is the article from the New York Post. So a Wisconsin woman convicted of murdering her lover and then sexually abusing and dismembering his corpse has been sentenced to life in prison without parole, a judge ruled on Tuesday. So Taylor Shabiznes, 25, strangled Shad Thyrion, I don't know, to death during a meth-fueled tryst in February 2022 in the basement of Thyrion's mother's Green Bay home. She then severed his head and penis with kitchen knives, she admitted to investigators. So, Shabiznes wore what appeared to be an apparent spit hood over her face at her Tuesday sentencing. She looked like a beekeeper to me. But when the judge asked her if there was anything she'd like to say, she replied, "No, there isn't." A jury found Shabiznes guilty of first-degree intentional homicide, third-degree sexual assault, and mutilating a corpse after just 50 minutes of deliberation on July 26. They rejected her insanity plea deal the next day. So in a disturbing interview with police after the killing, which was played to the jury during the trial, Shabiznes described how her lover's head was the, quote, first thing I took off, and that she was very excited about abusing his corpse. And she says, "I was sucking and cutting at the same time," the young mother admitted. She confessed that she initially began choking her boyfriend as foreplay, but she, quote, enjoyed it and wanted to see what would happen if she continued. Green Bay Police Department Detective David Graff testified. After chopping off her boyfriend's head, Graff claimed that Shabiznes said she cuddled his corpse. She described how she had sexual contact with the body in terms of playing with his penis. Also, she described that she had a dildo that she placed into his mouth and that she had also cuddled the body. Thyrion's mother discovered her son's head in a bucket in the basement. Shabiznes has a 2-year-old son that is in the process of being adopted by her grandma, who testified on her behalf. In February, Shabiznes attacked her previous attorney during a hearing before a deputy wrestled her to the courtroom floor. So stories like this make me happy that I married you and not some crazy bitch like this.
Yeah, I'd just leave. I just I'm mad. I'm gonna go out of here.
She wasn't even mad though. That's the whole
no,
thing.
she's just a straight psycho.
Yeah,
but
it was just like kinky, and then she was like, "Let's see what happens."
I mean, I don't even know if we could say kinky. That just like is.
I mean, it started.
I mean, I guess, yeah,
Started a little kinky, got a little
no shame.
crazy.
I mean, no kink shame.
Yeah,
in here.
no,
like,
not
none
at
of
all.
that. It's just, yeah.
A little choking, fine. But
there's never been in my mind like, gee, while I'm choking you, let's just see what happens. Like, common sense tells me what the result's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fucking wild.
Thanks. It is, people are fucking nuts.
Ooh.
People
Meth.
are crazy.
Hell of a joke.
Yeah.
Hell of a drug.
And it's like, you hear the last name Shabiznes, you think of meth.
Well, yeah.
And then you hear the first name Shad, and you're like, meth. No, I'm kidding, guys.
You should just mind your business.
Yeah, exactly. She should have minded her business.
Damn. Yep. She's locked up, though.
Yeah, she gone.
Whew. But, I mean, she might have a lot more playtime in jail, so. So we'll see what happens in
people getting her business.
In the old business show here in the future. But yeah, so we're gonna get into, I guess, our main topic. But we don't really have a main topic today because we have a guest. So we're just gonna. So, Erin is, I'd say, not the biggest fan of horror movies, but we'll get into all that anymore. Yeah, we'll get into all that. So, I figured, first of all, it'd be cool to have my wife as the first guest on the podcast. But also for, any listeners that aren't, diehard horror fans, maybe, we could figure out or talk about what's kind of a easier horror movie to watch for people that aren't into all the gore and scary shit. Like, we are. So.
Not me. You.
Not you. I meant me and
yeah,
and the Ghouls.
You and your Ghouls.
Yes. So that's what we're going to talk about. So what's the first horror movie that you remember watching? Do you remember?
Well, I do now because I made you write it down. Because fun fact, guys, I have ADHD and I can't remember shit. So all I have to do with a horror movie is explain something, and he'll know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So one of the first ones I remember watching was The Good Son, because like that image of Elijah Wood throwing the dummy over
Mhm.
the highway in the car, and yeah, that was one of those. But then, like I said, I wanted to scroll through Voodoo for a minute. Um, The Lost Boys, watching that with my oldest sister Jen. Yeah, that's like I was probably like 6 the first time I watched it and had no clue what was going on. So it's like this is cool. Vampires are neat. Like, um, and then of course 1996 Scream. That was like the rage, and I was 10, so I grew up with that one. Still a great one.
So you're still a fan of all those?
Yeah, I would say like we can talk about it more in depth too. That I'm willing to watch the newer ones. I just haven't wanted to.
Mm, understandable.
Yeah, fan of the series of itself. Whatever you want to call that.
The
Yeah,
franchise.
words and stuff.
Words and stuff. Yeah. Words. Fuck that. So was there any that you remember like in a negative way? Like any like particular scene from a movie that like fucked you up? Or you just didn't really see
Like
anything?
younger.
Yeah, yeah.
No. I was good with them when I was younger. I was like, this shit's fucking cool.
Okay.
Like, I wasn't scared. I wouldn't say I'm scared now. I just,
Right.
but no, there isn't anything like I think about and like, oh my God. Like, I'm more images for me would be like just those weird fucked up movies that I watched, like A Clockwork Orange. That was weird. When I watched The Wall for the first time and I was only like 8, and you're watching like the cartoon parts of it, and you're like, what the fuck is this? Like, whoa, that's peculiar. Like, those things are more of a standout than a horror movie for me.
So you're more fucked up from non-horror movies than horror movies.
Just more like those graphic, like make
Yeah.
your mind think, and you're like, what the hell did I just watch?
Huh.
But and what? How's an 8-year-old going to process
Well,
that?
true.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. The wall. I mean,
where like a horror movie for me when I was younger is like, well, I know it's not real, so
right.
like, I was more afraid of a bear coming out of the cornfield where I grew up than
The
I was
bears.
like, ghost face coming out, like, oh no.
I got you. Yeah, mine was like Hellraiser. Hellraiser 2. Seeing like the skinned corpse. That stuck with me. Freddy was always in my closet. So there
I
was
mean,
that.
yeah, I was a little older till I watched
Yeah,
Freddy,
you didn't see it as
Jason,
young. Yeah.
Chucky. I was like a teenager, so I didn't have to worry about that. Special guest appearance.
Yeah. Kitty. All up in my shit. Fuck
She
off,
loves
kitty.
you. Meow.
So
Yeah.
what are I guess that probably answers that question too. Like some of your horror favorites that you had growing up. Maybe not so growing up, but like
I mean, I could just go with like my favorites,
yeah,
period.
yeah.
Like I hands down the House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, two of my absolute favorite movies. And movies I could still watch to this day, like without issue. Mostly because for me, they fit in such an odd horror comedy genre, like fucked up comedy, but
Hmm.
like I love them. I mean, I will cackle through the whole thing because I think it's hilarious. But that whole thing is probably one of my favorites. I I mean, I like the Scream franchise, even though I haven't seen some of the newer ones. Um, what are some of my other like? I wouldn't necessarily say any like particular thing. I was like, what are you pointing at? Oh my god. Um, I don't even know. I'm trying to really like say a single horror movie. I can tell you my most hated ones.
I was gonna say I could segue right into what made you stop watching horror movies. Not the Conjuring series, you're saying.
Because I was a parasitic host and I
Aw.
had some insane hormonal changes because the parasite leeching all of me. And the crazy part is I just watched the first Conjuring not long before that, and I
Mhm.
loved it. And everybody says that's like the most like the scariest intense one, and I was like, dude, this is awesome. Then we went to see The Conjuring 2, and it was like, nope. As soon as that nun started coming out of that fucking like from the black, I was like, absolutely not. Straight panic attack. I am not doing this. Get me out of this theater. I made it through the whole thing
You
though.
did,
I
yeah.
wasn't like, hey, we gotta go. And it still was one of the funniest moments too when the old man comes around the TV and Matt like screamed,
Oh,
like
yeah,
and it
yeah.
just like echoed in the theater. Like, so it had a really funny moment thanks to Matt for that one. Um, but now I just no, absolutely not,
No.
absolutely not, immediately no.
And
Like,
just to clarify, the parasite you had is our 6-year-old
yeah,
daughter.
yeah, yeah. I had the parasite and I still haven't recovered though, like from that part of it. But um, I know at least 4 or 5 other people now that have said they've gone through the same thing after they've been a parasitic host.
Mm.
That it took them like 10-ish years and then suddenly they got back into it. Now they're fine, but it took them a really long time. So
Hmm.
thanks a lot.
So I got like 4 more years till I can take you back to horror movies in the theaters again.
Yeah, sure.
All right, cool.
But by that point, she's going to just want to go anyways.
Yeah,
Cause,
yeah, it's
so
true.
I still get to get out of it if I need to.
I'm trying to remember. I know like we watched horror movies before that, but there's like none like other than it. I remember watching that.
We watched that weird forest one. It had the chick from Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, The Forest.
Oh, it was just
Yeah,
called The
about the
Forest.
suicide forest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But that, I mean, there's a lot of times, so that's the other thing with horror movies is it can get fairly predictable with those like middle of the road ones. You're like,
Yeah.
well, I already kind of have a feeling I know what's going to happen, which you used to hate because I'd be like, I knew that was going to fucking happen.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, oh,
Oh.
like it's predictable. Like,
Bullshit.
hello. But so that's, I guess that's another reason I don't care to watch some of them as much anymore, too. Um, I would dare say, though, like thrillers
Hmm.
that can kind of cross over into that line. I still watch those. I like those a lot. And I don't know. And any of the classics, like if it's on, it's not gonna
Right.
whatever. I've
Stuff that
seen
you've
this.
already seen
Yeah, like
before too. Yeah. So what is there like a particular determining factor on what you'll like new ones that you'll watch now, or is it just like kind of everything in
well,
general?
I like to watch the trailers, and I ask you a lot, and I know most of the time you've probably reviewed it because you have watched it because you're constantly watching something,
Hmm.
even though my requests always go
I
never like
there's
you
been a
just
few.
none of those good ones that I
Yeah.
recommend.
Well.
I find the masterpieces
Yeah.
locked up in the Library of Congress.
Right.
Can't
Yeah.
get into it. But I will not watch. I am not into anything paranormal, and I never have been. That has never been my wheelhouse. Like 0 out of 10. I don't like most paranormal stuff as
Don't
it
fuck
is.
with ghosts.
And the weird thing is like in real life, I could give it, man, like ghosties come in. Like, I swear to God, I will fucking exercise the shit out of you if you even try. Uh-huh. So, yeah, that like real life doesn't freak me out, but I don't know. There is just something like that heats me up in the bad way
Yeah.
in the movies that I just, nope, never liked. Never
Well,
liked
it's always
Karen.
been like that kind of opposite because Gore in the movies is does like I'm all about it, but like real life, maybe not so much. But
It,
you're always been the opposite
yeah,
too.
doesn't
Like
bother
real
me.
life doesn't bother you at all, but
No.
like there was certain movies we'd watch that was super gory and eh, weren't the biggest fan.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the context of the gore. Like, I've never been a Saw person. I watched the first one and I was like, I'm cool, never watching those again. Same with Hostel. Those were ones like,
Yeah.
those are just a little, like, too over the top gore for me that I'm like, nah, I don't need to watch people like sawing body parts off of themselves.
Right.
I don't need to watch anybody's Achilles tendon being sliced.
Yeah,
And
that
that's
one's
like
rough.
real life, like, no thanks. It's like, that's a deal breaker right
Unless
there.
it's
Like,
Pet Cemetery.
well, I just, it still goes,
Well, yeah.
that one's like quick. Like, Hostel was like not quick. There's a whole scene on that one at the towards the end. So that's a no for me, dog. Like, mm-mm. But then there's like the comedic horror, like House of a Thousand Corpses, which you could dare say is gory,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just so fucking funny that you know,
Little sound effect back there.
yeah, it's fine. It's a ghosty.
Yeah, it's a ghosty.
Don't worry about it.
The little ghoul back there making sounds. Just like
Man.
that. All right. Let's see here. So I think since the nun is what fucked you up when you were
Ugh.
pregnant,
Fuck that bitch.
I think that's
Curse
why I
the
hate
person that
I
created
hate
her.
the nun movies. Because the nun is so good in The Conjuring 2. Like, it's so good that it like completely turned you off of horror movies pretty much. And then the nun movies are just so shitty
Garbage.
that I'm like, this is the character that made my wife not come to horror movies with me anymore. And then you're gonna give her a standalone movie and it's gonna be complete fucking shit.
Garbage.
So,
Garbage.
I'm a little salty about the nun.
Garbage.
Garbage. So, what are some kind of modern or current horror movies that you do or may enjoy now? Anything come to mind?
Well, I mean, I have some on my list of like when I get there, I'll get there. Those will be top priority. Like, I'd like to watch the newer Screams. There was that one I sent you. That I asked you if you had done a review on it. I think it
Was it the comedy one?
Yeah, you said it was okay. And
Oh, it's the one with Skarsgård, villains.
yeah, that
Yeah,
one
you'd
looked
be
good.
yeah.
But those I think are like, you know, soft core horror.
Yeah,
You
they're
know,
more
like-
like kind of comedic.
yeah, and then man, I don't even like. There's just some in my list I'd like to rewatch again because I haven't watched them in 6 years
Right.
or more. Um, but nothing recently has screamed out like, "Gee, I really want to go see that" at all. Just and it might be just that mindset I'm in right now, but there's like, no thanks, don't want to see that one. Nope. I do need to watch Three from Hell. I still haven't watched it, and it makes me very upset because I love House of a Thousand
Mhm.
Corpses and The Devil's Rejects so much, but it came out after all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But we own it, so I'm not like, gee, I
Yeah.
need to be in a rush. And I know that it's not quite as good as the first two either.
No, unfortunately.
So that kind of has been like, when I get there, I get there. I'm not in a rush.
Yeah, probably any other time I'd say, yeah, definitely watch it. But like, it's not bad, but it's like it's not even close to the first two.
Yeah,
Just because of the circumstances of it. So
yes, R.I.P. Sid.
yeah. So, but yeah, we do own it. So
Yeah,
one day you'll get there.
yeah, and only because I have to mention it, but
Well, go ahead.
But I love the Sharknado series, the cinematic TV made for TV masterpieces that they are.
What do you love about Sharknado?
With Ian.
Ian. Fuck that guy.
Dude, I know, I really do love it. I think it's hilarious. I think it's like so funny that somebody sat down and said, let's make a movie about a tornado with sharks in it and then make like 15 more
Oh yeah.
on Sci-Fi straight to TV. Like,
and just get the most
and
absurd cameos in it.
Yes. And then it's like, I'm going to pick this chainsaw up and that's going to be my weapon of choice with a tornado with sharks in it. Like, best of luck to you, Tara Reid. You got this. And she does. She survives. Her and Ian, they survive every movie.
If you call it that.
I mean, they're still kicking. They're breathing at the end of it.
I'm pretty sure there's a few of them where she doesn't make it.
No,
but then she's back for the next one.
Well, maybe she's a ghost.
Yeah.
Whatever,
I don't know.
But
old zombie
I
shark on her.
I need to sit down and power through all those again. How many are there now? I think
There's
last there was
6,
5,
right?
so I don't think I've watched the
No, we
sixth one.
watched. I think the last time that we marathoned them was when the last one came out.
Oh, okay. All
So
right.
I think we're all caught up on the Sharknado franchise.
Well, it's been a while, so we could do it
It has been
again.
it has been a minute. I don't. Oh, man.
Snuggle up.
I mean, I haven't reviewed
Scooch
them.
close.
Haven't reviewed them, so there's that.
That is on the list of ones I keep telling you to do.
Huh. Yeah,
And
none of them
I
are
really
getting
wish I
above a
could
4. I
name
can tell you
that
that.
title of that super weird one I found, like, what, last year or something around this time. I was like, have you
Oh, it
done
was that
this one?
dude. Yeah, it has that. It was like a one from the 80s.
Yes, it was super weird.
Yeah, I can't remember the kid's name that's in it. Like he's a actor now, but he was like a kid in it.
He was an actor then too, guys.
I mean, yeah,
just letting you know.
he was yeah, yeah. I don't remember. There's that Ryan Reynolds one too. Like it's like Frankenstein thing.
Yes,
I need
yes.
to-
It has
that
a
is on my
different name in
list.
Canada.
Well, he is Canadian.
Well, you know.
It's Deadpool 4 in Canada. Even though it came
It's
out like
pre-Deadpool,
30 years
but
ago.
you know, it's his favorite movie he's ever done.
Well,
so,
I don't
you know,
blame him. I mean, yeah,
I have no judgments here.
no, it's fine.
Not with Ryan
Just
Reynolds.
roll with it.
Never.
I mean, yeah, he's too beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
To be
It's
judged.
like, is there a man or a woman that doesn't like
I don't know.
Ryan Reynolds?
If they don't, I don't trust them.
Yeah, me neither.
So there's that.
Garbage.
Garbage. Bunch of garbages. So what would you say is your kind of favorites? If you had to pick a favorite horror subgenre, what would you say? Like, I don't know, like slasher, obviously not paranormal.
Absolutely
like,
not.
Slasher, kind of horror comedy, more kind of like true crime, like I don't know, like Seven or stuff kind of based on like serial killers.
Yeah. I mean, I like that kind of stuff. Like,
You're all about the true
and
crime.
see, for like Seven for me is more of like the thriller horror, that crossover.
Yeah.
Those I still really like. And I mean, I've watched some movies that I would say, oh, okay. And I was actually explaining this to my mom the other day because I was like, most, you think about horror movies in the 80s, they're like Chucky and Friday the 13th, Halloween. Their gore factor is just your regular run of the mill thriller now. That I'm
Oh yeah,
like they're not even scary.
right.
But I do really enjoy those. And of course, we've already talked about it, but I love the horror comedy. Like you just can't go wrong because it's any of those are just too funny throughout the whole thing that
Mhm.
it's not really horror, but it's more like based on it. But
Right. They can
yeah,
kind of
like,
get away with more gore and stuff like that.
yeah, but it's just being
But it's
silly,
just funny,
quirky,
yeah.
like goofy, silly,
Goofy silly.
goofy.
Don't mind me, just goofy silly.
Yep.
Paranormal slasher. Ooh, okay.
No, thank you.
I like that. I'm into it.
No, thank you.
I'll take one.
I won't be attending. So, as I do that, I will just rent you out to somebody else to go watch that. And
Yeah,
I'll stay
yeah.
home. Like
It's the relationship we have.
absolutely fine sharing if somebody else
Yeah.
wants to go. Like
Have
by
movie
all
theater
means,
wives.
take him on a date
Just
because
take
I'm
him
not
away.
going. I'm not
Get them
go-
the fuck out of here.
I am going to play my video games.
Yeah.
Please shoot.
Shoo.
I
Just
don't
get
want
out
to
of
see
the
that.
house.
I don't want to see that.
This is how we live. You know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it works because you
It does.
don't want to see the movies I want to see ever either. You're
No, not
you're missing
typically.
out on Barbie. I'm sorry, but
I mean, I didn't.
you're missing out.
I'll
on
watch it. I just didn't want to go to
I
the
can't
theater
wait
to
for
see it.
Trolls in Sync reunion. Yes, please. I'm here for it.
I mean, I like the first Trolls.
I can't wait for the third one. In Sync.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye, bye, bye. Hey, 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 you're back.
God.
Yeah, Barbie was a good movie.
I'm sure it is, yeah. And
was
I
a
said I'll
damn
watch
good
it. I just
movie.
didn't want to go to the theater to see it.
Pish posh.
Old Barbenheimer.
Yes. Yes. But I do enjoy like the true crimey stuff. Of course, like when I binge podcast myself, that's all I listen to.
Yeah.
That's it.
The real
It's like,
shit.
Jazz, tell me about the real life death of this person. So like the one I'm listening to right now is Park Predators. And I got into that one during the pandemic. They released it. But I was driving to and from work when I was working down in Huntington. And the 45-minute drive one way. So that is you want to talk about some insane shit, what people were doing. like there's a whole park ranger that goes missing. I was like, oh my God. Like, it's,
Oh my god.
yeah, oh my God. And turned out this guy's like the longest missing persons that works for like the National Park Service ever. Like the one I was listening to today, I was like, oh, that's, they've never found the dude's body. Just like
There you go.
disappeared from a station.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy.
Huh.
Yeah. But
Yeah, the real life stuff's always scarier than the movie stuff.
then I'm like, false. It's
False.
fine.
False.
False.
Nay.
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 Not happening. I mean, I guess when you like average out your chances of it happening is it's never zero, but with how many millions of us, trillions, billions, whatever the number is of us, of something actually happening is actually really rare, which is why we hear about it in those instances. Gesundheit. But yeah, so I'm always just like, me. I'm not saying it can't happen to me, but in the horror movie, it's like it happens to everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah, they're like, no thanks.
Yeah.
A fucking nun will come for you. Nobody
yeah.
is safe. And then people go snooping around for her. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Psh, get out of here with that shit. I might be a very white woman, but I am beige. I am not going and asking what's behind that door. Like, no, don't open it. Look, I turned the light on.
Well, small humans busting in here. I guess we'll wrap it up. Any other final thoughts on horror movies?
No.
I know you're an expert on it, so we gotta ask.
I'm not so far from it. There she is.
Yeah.
In her zombie makeup.
Zombie makeup.
No, fuck the nun and curse the person that created her and thought that up because it was not part of like The Conjuring. It was not part of The Conjuring at all. Okay.
Well, this is just going straight to hell.
Straight to south.
Straight to hell.
Straight south.
Fuck the nun.
Yeah.
I was trying to find Hail
Zombie
Satan on there, but
who looks like Beetlejuice. That's her real dad.
it's a real dad.
That's her real dad, clearly.
Oh my.
He
Push his child away.
Okay.
Close
All right.
line.
Well, on that note,
People's elbow.
we're going to wrap it up here. It's going to do it for another episode of Blood, Gore, and Ghouls. Thanks to my lovely wife, Erin, for being our first ever guest. And I appreciate you all taking time to hang out with us. Be sure to follow on Instagram at Blood, Gore, and Ghouls _podcast. On Twitch at Ian Van Ghoul. Join the Ghoul Squad Discord. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow on TikTok at Ian.VanGhoul. All links can be found in the show notes. But until next week, I've been your host, Ian Van Ghoul.
And his lovely wife, Erin.
Lovely wife.
Lovely wife.
Mrs. Ghoul.
It's
But
me.
oh, have a ghoulish week.
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
And stay safe out there.